Guterres called on the international community to support Israelis and Palestinians take determined actions to advance a meaningful peace process, calling a two-state solution the only way to achieve a durable and equitable peace.
Last week's clear and repeated rejection of the two-state solution at the highest level of the Israeli government is unacceptable. And this was despite the strongest appeals from even the friends of Israel, including those sitting around this table. This refusal and the denial of the right to statehood to the Palestinian people would indefinitely prolong a conflict that has become a major threat to global peace and security. It would exacerbate polarization and embolden extremists everywhere. The right of the Palestinian people to build their own fully independent state must be recognized by all. And any refusal to accept the two-state solution by any party must be firmly rejected. What is the alternative? How would a one-state solution look with such a large number of Palestinians inside, without any real sense of freedom, rights and dignity? This would be inconceivable. The two-state solution is the only way to address the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians.
He again warned that the entire population of Gaza was enduring destruction at a scale and speed without parallel in history, telling the Council that nothing could justify the collective punishment of 2.3 million Palestinian people in the enclave. Guterres told member states that everyone in Gaza was hungry, and more than 500,000 of those grappling with catastrophic levels of food insecurity. And with a collapsing health system, disease was expanding the means of death in the Strip, as he called for a functioning medical evacuation system.
Mr. President,
Palestine's top diplomat echoed the SG's sentiments as he called for greater international consensus on a path forward.
it is time to convene an international peace conference with a clear objective, upholding international law and implementing UN resolutions through resolute action by all states, organizations, and the UN. It is time for recognizing the admission of the State of Palestine to the UN. We were not granted a veto right over Israel's admission to the United Nations 75 years ago. Israel does not have a veto right over the admission of the State of Palestine 75 years later. The international consensus on two states in this land must be upheld in word and deed. There can be no more pretext for endless delay and obstruction. The disregard for Palestinian life, for international law, for the regional and international will to bring about just and lasting peace should no longer be tolerated.
Israel's envoy again rejected calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza as only benefiting Hamas, as he put forward a formula for ending the bloodshed.
How can you call for a ceasefire and mention a solution to the conflict at the same time? This is a complete oxymoron. You cannot have both. It's impossible. Hamas seeks to annihilate Israel, and if you support a position that will leave Hamas in power, you cannot pretend to wish for a solution to the conflict. The past 18 years have proven this. But dear friends, there is a formula that can end the bloodshed, and if the Council stands united behind it, then it will materialize. Should Hamas turn in those responsible for October 7th, and should Hamas release all the hostages, this war would be over immediately. This is not a war that Israel chose, but we will defend our future just as each of you would defend the future of your country.
Israel earlier proposed a 2-month pause in Gaza hostilities in exchange for a phased release of all remaining hostages. But reports suggest Hamas has called for Israel's withdrawal from Gaza as a precondition. Siobhan Ricebees, SABC News, New York.